And welcome to the Rolling With series. I'm Will, and with me as always is my fellow illiterate,
Sarah.
And today we're looking at Dominion Dark Ages, because it's a bad time.
It's a dark time.
Very dark. Sarah, tell us a bit about this.
All right. Dark Ages is a big expansion that introduces shelter cards, effects when you trash a card, and then several new extra card piles, including evolution stacks. So I think the main thing that really threw a lot of people off about, but not in a bad way, is those starting cards, the shelter cards.
Yes, they aren't worth anything. They are junk.
Yep.
In your hand.
Well, one of them is slightly useful. I remember keeping one of them for a while around.
Yeah, I think it was one that provided maybe an action.
Yeah, something like that. But anyways,
actions, maybe.
Instead of starting with 3 estates, you start with one of each of the 3 shelters. So each one does something. Well, actually, I don't think one of them doesn't do anything, but they have different things on them. And I think one of them trashes itself. Or do they all trash themselves?
It can react to when you do something.
Yes, that's it.
But for the most part, everyone is in a ravine.
Yes.
We are not in a castle anymore. We are in a ditch.
You have no estates because you have no property. This is just terrible times.
Yes. And its biggest thing is exploring the trash.
Yep.
Because one player's trash is another person's dark age. And that's what this game is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the big expansions like this will have like 5 to 10 cards that feature a mechanism. In this one, there's over 20, I think it's about 20 cards, stacks that are all about trashing. And trashing is a mechanism that can be very difficult to learn at first. I know for me, I had a lot of trouble with Dark Ages when we first bought it because it was one of the, well, because we didn't start in Dominion right at the beginning of the life of Dominion. We got quite a lot of it and we were playing through it. So in the early part of me learning how to play Dominion, we played Dark Ages. That was not good. I did not understand the full depth of how trashing effectively worked.
Yeah, because you were resistant to trashing anything. You're
right.
like, but I spent money to buy the thing.
Right.
Why would I get rid of it? Well, for its effect.
Yes.
But I want the thing still.
Yes. So easy trashing is, oh, I want to get rid of these coppers because I've already bought silver and gold. That is an easy thing to trash because you understand that keeping coppers around is diluting your deck. It's slowing it down. That's easy to understand that you want to get rid of. But the fact that I paid 4 or 5 money for this card, that gives me an effect that I want. And now you're saying I could buy a different card that will trash the first card to give me a different effect, but then I no longer have this other card. That's a really hard decision to make. And if you don't fully understand how that's going to help you in the long run, yeah, this expansion can be very difficult.
Yeah, you also have piles that have more than the standard 10 cards. You have rats that have just more cards.
Yeah.
And they're not nice either.
Well, it is the Dark Age, so there's a bit more negative player interaction. I mean, attacks will always be negative player interaction, but there is that. And then ruins, there's different ways to gain ruins. Now,
you can buy them.
You can buy them.
Why would you? But you can.
Each give you a simple action, like one thing. So they're not completely useless, but they do slow down your deck, which is typically why someone would play a card to give everyone else ruins.
But it also gives you something easy to trash.
Exactly. So there's a give and take with the ruins of, I really don't like this because it's just taking up room. But now I have something to trash. So there you go. I can fuel that card.
It's kind of like a potion.
Kind of.
It's like a second currency.
Yeah.
That you're working with, and they just happen to be ruins that could do something, but you don't really want them to do anything.
Well, like some do give you an action, some give you a buy, some give you a card draw.
It's almost not enough to be worth playing.
That's true.
But it could. It could help at some point in the right circumstance. Now, another interesting thing is cards evolve. So you have your hermits and your urchins that evolve into other cards. They go away, and new cards that are piles out there that aren't in the supply, so you can't buy them,
right,
go into your card as replacement representing the evolution.
Right. This was the first time they have that concept. There are other expansions that have, they call them different things because they slightly work differently. But yes, this is the one where there's two different stacks where when you meet a certain situation or circumstances, you can trash that card to gain the evolution. And let's see, a hermit turns into a madman and urchins turned into a mercenary, which is also interesting because that is also a thematic story there.
Yes.
Of
the hermit went mad and the urchin found a job.
I mean, but that's true.
Yeah.
And again, that comes back to how the theme is present in the cards if you look at them, but a lot of people do just focus on the mechanisms.
Yeah. You also have an interesting stack called the Knights. Now, the Knights are all unique cards, but unlike, say, prizes in Cornucopia, you can't search through them. You can only buy the top Knight.
And they're randomized, so you actually shuffle. This is one of the few stacks that's actually shuffled, turned face down, and you only flip up the top card. The top card that's face up, that's what's purchasable.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Also, there's another stack that is a non-supply stack called Spoils, and it's like a temporary gold. There are different cards that will gain you a spoil, and it's so you take a spoil off the top and you just put it in your discard pile. When you go to play it, you get 3 money, but then it's returned to the spoils pile because you've spent your spoils.
Yeah, so a non-purchasable card that just is almost a supply in and of itself to fuel a mechanism for various other cards.
Right. So this expansion adds a lot in terms of variety of new cards, new twists on cards, just really deep dives into trashing mechanisms in that. And so this one is definitely got a wide variety of things to, check out.
Yes. So who
Yes.
would you recommend this for?
I would only really recommend this for very advanced Dominion players that have a really good grasp on trashing and timing. Because again, trashing at the right time is critical to really getting the most out of what you're doing, which can be very difficult and very hard to grasp. So even advanced gamers who haven't played Dominion, this is definitely not one. I would never use this one as an introduction to Dominion, even if someone has played like 5 or 6 different deck builders, because all deck builders work differently. This one is just really advanced. You need to really have a good grasp on it.
Yeah, you are in love with Dominion and you're ready for a deep dive into something and see what Dominion can really offer. Dark Ages is that game that opens it up, but you have to be specifically a Dominion player.
Right, because so on a normal Dominion game, you actually start with 3 points. In this game, you start with 0 points. And so you've really got to get somewhere.
One game we ended in a 3-way tie and we all had 3 points.
That was us very early on, still learning Dominion, still learning Dark Ages. That was not a fun game.
But this is going to be a game that you're going to fight.
Yes.
Fight hard to try to get anywhere.
Right.
Because it is the Dark Ages.
Yep.
So they do a very good job recreating that in card form where I'm trading with the villagers and they're trading back, but nobody seems to get anywhere because we don't have any money. We just have sticks.
Yeah.
So what am I doing here?
Yeah. So this could be one that may not be for most people. But for those that it is for, it is very rewarding. If you love Dominion like we do, I'm much better with this now, and so I will play this. It is still not at the top of my list for expansions, but I still do play it, and I enjoy it a lot more. That's the great thing about these expansions is a lot of times is you just need to play it more. The more you play it, the more you'll understand the mechanisms, the more you're going to get. And I'm not saying just use the same 10 cards over and over again. Try different combinations of the cards because eventually something will click into place.
Yeah, of course, once you get into that groove and you move to a different expansion, it's a shock to the system because you're so used to thinking a certain way with Dark Ages. And so Dark Ages will help you refresh other expansions that you may have with Dominion. And if you're getting this, yeah, you have other expansions of Dominion because you are a fan of Dominion.
Yes, agreed.
So that will do it for us here at the Rolling With series. Remember to check out the other video where I perform the flavor text of Dominion Dark Ages. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling With Two, that's TWO. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And ma'am, can I please have the end of this video?
Sure, you can start at any time.
All right. We've been Rolling with Dominion.